Welcome to Free Advice Friday, the hour every hour we get together to talk about book marketing, publishing, and the business of being an author. Thanks for joining us, or if you're watching our replay, for watching on YouTube. We do take questions live every week at newshelves.com/FAF, and we've got quite a few questions that were also emailed in this week, meaning that anyone can email a question throughout the week to info@newshelves.com. We hold those together, and then on Friday we answer them. So you can participate, you can ask your questions, even if you can't join us live on Friday mornings. So we are going to join in right there and start with an emailed question. And that question was a question about Hoopla. So we have Cheryl who's saying, man, I'm getting in libraries through Hoopla through Find a Way Voices, but I'm not seeing my ebook get any love or traction. And so whenever I get questions like that, like I can't find my book on Ingram. I got that question today. I can't find my book on Ingram Spark or Ingram. I can't find my book on Barnes & Noble. I can't find my book on Hoopla. The first thing I always say is sometimes that happens. Sometimes they choose not to carry your book. Sometimes your book is available, but it's not stocked in the online community. So that can sometimes happen, but always, first step, double check the back end, double check that you have ticked the box that you would like to be included in certain distribution, or maybe a certain place like on Draft to Digital, they've just added like 3 different distribution opportunities for eBooks, like in the last couple of weeks. And if you don't go in and accept those terms or check those boxes, your book is not going to be available through those distribution channels. More than that, you can't just tick the box. You have to tick the box and then hit the publish button. You have to re-hit that publish button to reprocess them sending out your information. So if you find out that you are not, if you find out that you're not like in a certain place, the first thing I say is go in, make sure your distribution is enabled everywhere you want it to be. And on Ingram Spark, that means when you're on Ingram Spark and it talks about your book, it will actually says in the print field, it says enabled for distribution or not enabled for distribution. So you need to see that it's a little like toggle bar. And if it's enabled for distribution, then there's a world next to the toggle bar, like a globe, and that will be in color. It will be lit up in color if it's in distribution. And for both of these questions that both came in this week, that was the culprit, is that they had not ticked the box or they had not enabled and actually pushed out distribution. So if you ever feel like my book's not available, why not? Always check that first. Sometimes you'll also find that your book is not available because a certain platform tagged your book for not having something they require, or like sometimes Apple iBooks will not publish a book that links directly to Amazon in the back matter. And so I've seen that before. So it's always good to go into your account, just double check. Could you get an agent who represents children's picture book writers? Absolutely. There are agents for just about every genre. There are agents that will work in multiple genres, but most of them will build contacts in kind of some specific niches. So you might find a adult fiction agent who really only works in science fiction and fantasy. You might find an agent that works mostly in romance. You might find one that works only in children's books, and that's because they develop their contacts there, and so it's easier for them to work with and sell a book in that genre. So there are absolutely agents who work in children's books. Just keep in mind that typically an agent is looking for a new work. They're not typically going to sign on for a book or an author who's already published their book. So just something to keep in mind. Oh, for a guest, could we find a guest who represents children's picture books? Do you know someone named Stacy who does children's picture books that I could ask? I will make a note of that and I'll send her an email and see what she says. And I'll let you know. All right. What would be good hashtags for a TikTok or book talk campaign for KDP? I'm a little confused because we don't use hashtags for KDP. I'm thinking that you are just trying to sell through KDP on TikTok or BookTok, in which case your hashtags would be really specific to your genre and to the social media platform, not KDP. No one cares it's KDP. They know it's selling on Amazon because just about everything sells on Amazon. So if you're talking about using hashtags for TikTok, for Instagram, or Twitter, something like that, you'd want to go genre heavy. So it's not unusual to see someone go hashtag viral, hashtag TikTok or book talk, hashtag am reading, hashtag fantasy. I mean, that kind of stuff is typically what you would go for, but it really depends on your book specifically. You see, did anyone else hear, if you get our newsletter, you heard, did anyone else hear that the USA Today bestseller list is back in action? So very excited to hear. It actually just went live on June 28th. The USA Today bestseller list is back. You guys know, because we talked about it, that in December of 2022, there were layoffs going on with the company, and then they abruptly put the bestseller list on hiatus. No notice, just went on hiatus. And I was very skeptical if it would ever come back, but it did. So very exciting. USA Today bestseller list is back. And it's supposedly improved. I guess time will tell, but it's supposed to have more automation set up into it. So people who report book sales, actually it's all being automated rather than having human people in there and adding things up or combing through. It's really being automated a little bit more, which should be a good thing. It should be something that gives more, I don't want to say honest results, because I don't think that the results were dishonest before, but it should have some, get rid of some human error there. They did post the bestseller list for June 21st that week and for the week of June 28th. A lot of the rules are staying the same. They are still going to be counting sales in physical and digital assets. Your print books and your ebooks count. Good news there. They are counting the sales from Monday to Sunday, as they always have. So Monday to Sunday. They are getting reports from major retailers like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Costco, Target, I think is doing it, as well as indie bookstores across the US. So very, very excited about this. As you guys know, USA Today has been one of the only bestseller lists that truly depended on sales. It did not depend on, did people like you? It wasn't curated based on those things like the New York Times bestseller list, which is very curated based on, buzz and PR and lots of other things. This is solely based on sales, and they include digital sales. So USA Today is one of the biggest highlights that an indie author especially can really hope to hit, because typically you just need to sell between 3 and 5,000 copies in a week. A percentage of those have to come outside of Amazon, but very excited to have this back. I'm looking forward to using that again in our book marketing, our research, and all of that. Yes, digital assets are continuing to be counted. So your ebooks, your audiobooks are being counted as well, which is, again, fantastic. So that is big, exciting news that just popped up this week, which I love. Let's see. How could you compare using Google Play versus KDP for ebooks, or can you use both at the same time? So you can use both at the same time as long as you're not Kindle exclusive. Google Play is a place where you can put your ebooks, just like you can put your ebooks on Kobo or Barnes & Noble and KDP for Amazon. Same things apply. You can put your book up onto Google Play and Amazon and KDP as long as your book's not in Kindle Select for Kindle Unlimited. If your book is in Kindle Unlimited, if it's exclusive to Kindle, you can't have it up anywhere else. It's against the terms. Now, one thing to note with Google Play is that it's very easy to put your book up by yourself. It's very, very easy to do, but it is not included in draft to digital. So this is one of the things typically when I talk about ebook distribution, I say get your book directly up into KDP for Amazon and get your book into draft to digital for wide distribution if you're not going exclusive with Amazon. And that gives you some really great distribution. It gives you a lot of access if your ebook is wide, but draft to digital does not include Google Play. So if you'd like your book in Google Play, you would then have to create an account and upload your book directly to Google Play as well separately. So just something to keep in mind if that matters to you. It's just a separate upload. It's not hard and it's very accessible. So just something to keep in mind there. Let's see. I've tried all the tips and tricks to get the media to talk about my old books. Now with a new one coming out, I could use some help in getting the word out about it. Everyone who has read it so far, my beta readers say it would make a great movie. How can I land a real and true deal with a producer or studio? So here's the thing about landing a film deal with your books. And you guys know I've worked with Dr. Rob Carpenter before for Books to Big Screen, which is a course that teaches you all about working with the movie industry or for film for your book. So that could be streaming services, movies, that kind of thing. So you can always go to bookstobigscreen.com and there's a whole course up there that you may find helpful. But the thing to kind of keep in mind here is that a book doesn't have to be a bestseller in order to be picked up by Hollywood. However, it does have to fit whatever's trending. So I actually work with agents who will occasionally they'll email me and be like, hey, I need some espionage novels. Hulu right now really is doing a lot of spy thrillers, espionage. Do you know of any books that you think would be a good fit? And I'll send them over if I know of authors, whether I am personally working with them and they are my clients, or I just know of this book and I think it'd be a good fit, I'll send them over. They will vet them. Sometimes they're going, oh, this one has a lot of reviews, a lot of attention. We're going to try to go after this person. But occasionally they'll say, this is a really cool story we haven't seen done. So even though this book is not, doesn't have a ton of reviews, a ton of PR, we think that this is a new and fresh outlook that could get a lot of attention. Or it's trending because, we don't have a lot of female espionage, that kind of thing. So sometimes it's simply content. But the thing you need to keep in mind is that they're typically not just, now, I'm not saying they don't come across a great pitch and just jump on it, but typically each agent or each streaming service has something in mind that they're looking to fill. Right now, historical pieces can be really hard to sell because it takes a lot of money to make a historical set. So that can be a little bit harder. And no, there's so much luck to it. Now you can pitch your book and you should pitch your book. You can go on to, I'm going to say it wrong because I always do. I think it's IMB. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so bad. IDMB. I'm that bad. I'm going to have to Google it while we're on here because I can't ever remember. I'm so bad with the acronyms. Nope, see, IMDB. There we go. I got it. It's IMDB Pro. So now that I've butchered that, IMDB Pro, you can go and you can do this. It's a paid subscription, so you do need to know that. But if you do that, you can access people in Hollywood, producers and agents and things like that who are working in film, and you can actually get contact information for them. So that could be a really great way is to find someone who's already producing or working with books kind of similar to yours, or with, like similar themes or topics. You think your book would be a good project to turn into film, and you can reach out to them. You do need to create a pitch deck. You need a log line. So again, if you're interested in that, Books to Big Screen is a great course that walks you through these things, that teaches you about how to create the materials and how to reach people. So I'd recommend that. But no, even if you're pitching, there's a lot of luck involved. There is a whole lot of luck. And I do have clients who have I have clients who've had major motion pictures. I have clients who've gotten streaming. I have clients who've gotten Hallmark movies and different things like that. So it's possible, absolutely, even as an indie, but build up your reader base, build up your fan base, and know where your book would fit in. What streaming service? What are your comps? What's popular that is kind of like that? So people are kind of thinking, okay, well, right now, what's really popular? Bridgerton's really popular. So everyone's pitching their period piece, but those are super expensive to make. So maybe that's awesome. Maybe it's not. It's just something you got to kind of think about and work through. But for sure, you need a log line and try again and build up your reading audience. There have been quite a few book to screen adaptations that came because so many people were reading the books that they were asking for it. And so film people are smart, right? They're like, okay, this is a built-in audience that will go in and go to the movies or watch the streaming because they're already rabid fans of the book. And so that's an easy yes. So build up your readership as much as you're building up your film hopes and the things that you're doing to pitch there. Also know right now there is a huge strike going on. So there is a writer's strike going on. That's huge. So not much of anything's being bought right now. Now, hopefully that will be something, the writer's strike will be something that is resolved by the time you're ready to pitch, but just know not much of anything is happening right now with film because of that. Let's see. Here is the question. I'm an award-winning author with a limited budget. How can I successfully launch my forthcoming Christian book to adults? So I get this question all the time, right? Like, not everyone has the budget for a big marketing or PR program. And when I hear this, my first thing is, okay, if you don't have a budget, if you don't have money for marketing, then you have got to be creative and you have got to put in your time. It's a little bit like when you look in the cupboard and you're like, it's not grocery day. I don't have the budget for groceries. What am I going to make for dinner with, the can of Jell-O and the black beans that I have in my cabinet? It's that idea. If you don't have the budget, you've got to get creative and you've got to put the time in, because marketing, as you've heard me say, takes time, money, or both. So if you've got a book coming out, you're tight on budget, the first thing that I would recommend is that you go and you find your comps. Find 3 comps in your genre similar to your book. Look at what they're doing and where they are succeeding. Are they crazy on social media? Are they going viral on TikTok? It's free to do TikTok. It's going to take time, but it's free. That's something that you can try and that you can put your time into. Are they doing a lot of podcasts? Is that where they're being picked up? For nonfiction books, often the answer is yes. You can pitch to podcasts for free. It's going to take time and effort, but you can do it for free. Think about where your audience is hanging out, and that's where you need to go to spend your time. Or if you do have budget, but it's limited, that's where you go. So for example, if you know, okay, a lot of my readers are probably on Facebook. Facebook ads may be a great option because you can do them for as little as $1 a day. Now I say as little as $1 a day. I also have clients who literally spend several hundred a day. So you can spend more, but you can spend less. So that's a good budget factor if that's where your audience is. You're gonna have to take the time or hire someone to help you learn how to best optimize your ads on Facebook, but you can do it. Also, when thinking about like a Christian book, for example, if you're doing a Christian nonfiction, are you in Facebook groups that would appreciate your book? Can you share it there? Now, don't break any group rules. You do need to read and make sure that you're not spamming or promoting. You may have to ask the admin if you can talk about your book, that kind of thing, but that's a free option. And there are so many online ways and courses to learn how to do things. New Shelves YouTube has a bunch of how-to tutorials on how to do things. Blogs, there are podcasts, there are ways to learn to market yourself, but you're going to have to put that sweat equity in, and there's just no getting around that. Very rarely do books have no marketing and no budget, no effort, and just go viral. So plan, instead of just hoping for sales, plan for sales. Plan to put yourself out there. Make sure that your distribution is set up really well. Make sure that you are sharing your book, and know that this one gets me every time. It's one of my favorite things to hear. I mean, tongue in cheek, but I have so many friends. I've got all these contacts on LinkedIn. And so when I posted my book to my 20,000 contacts on LinkedIn, I thought, you know, at least a good handful of them would buy the book. And I only got 2 sales. And this is important. Just because you have a contact on LinkedIn or Facebook, or even if you have a big personal friend group, it doesn't mean that they are your audience for the book. They may not like your book. They may not like what you're writing about. Maybe you are writing a Christian romance book, and these people just don't really read romances. It's not personal. It's just, yeah, good. They want to support you. They'll tell you way to go, but that doesn't mean they are your audience or your reader. So do not depend on your personal contacts to buy your book. It's really important that you build your audience and provide them with something that they've already been looking for, not trying again and again to sell your product to people just because you know them or they know you. You've got to build the audience out. Yes. Nancy, I'm happy to have a personal chat about that, but not something I'd speak to here. Let's see. There are certainly, I mean, the question is all about like PR, right? So PR companies, is it worth it? How does it work? And this is not for any one PR company. I'm talking about PR companies in general. But when talking about PR companies in general, most of them do require a minimum 6-month contract. So they'll require a 6-month contract at minimum. Sometimes it's a year. And typically they have a retainer, and the retainer can be anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 per month. So PR companies typically are a big budget item. The thing that's really important to realize is that when you're working with a PR company, PR is public relations. Their job is to try to get you booked on air, on radio, on television, on podcast. Their job is to try to get you guest writing spots for newspapers and blogs and articles. Typically, a PR company is not going to do your advertising and marketing, meaning they're not running Amazon ads. They're not running Facebook ads and actually asking for a sale. They're creating buzz, they're creating awareness and name recognition, which may lead to people going out, finding you and looking for your book, but they are not actually going for a sale. They're going for recognition of you, your name, and your brand. Sales typically goes more in the advertising category. So it's really important to know that. Also know that they're not going to guarantee you placement. Just like when I run an ad for someone or when I do a library program, my job is to get you in front of the buyers and give you the best shot at sales. Someone in PR's job is to help you, prep you, and get you in front of the right people and give you the best chance of booking a slot on a radio show or TV or podcast. But they cannot guarantee you placement. That's not how it works. So you may have a PR company who actually does all they're supposed to, does a great job, and you don't book a lot of slots. Sometimes your topic isn't trending. Sometimes maybe you're not really as good in person or in interviews as you would hope. And so you're not getting those slots available. Also, well, sometimes, yes, we have unknown people who show up on, big radio programs, or they show up on the Joe Rogan show, whatever it is, sometimes. but do know that that's rare. Typically, there's like a stepping ladder. People want social proof that you can speak well, that you're well on air, that you are available, that you're professional. So typically, you're going to start with lower rung, opportunities and build your way up. I will tell you, the first time that I did a webinar, the first time I was on camera, it was rough. I mean, I've gone back and looked at some of those videos or recordings. It was rough. I've gotten better over the years. I've gotten better at interviews because I've practiced. So I've built my way up to now where I get invited to do different things, or I get asked, or people are willing to come on Free Advice Friday and be interviewed, because now they know that that's something that they're comfortable with and I can handle. So just like that, authors have to know that's the kind of stepping stones. So PR company, again, just know their job is brand awareness and buzz. It's typically, I mean, again, if we're talking 6 months, let's go in the middle. So I said 3 to 10 grand. Let's say it's $5,000. 6 months, that means your minimum investment is typically going to be $30,000. So no, yep, that is how big names are built. That is how New York Times bestsellers are often built. But also know it is a gamble. You are not guaranteed much with pretty much any company, because they're putting your name out there, but they're not going to guarantee you placement or sales, because a lot of that depends on you. So again, just know that. And that's certainly something, if you are looking for a PR company, there is a list on New Shelves under the People We Like tab and resources. We do have some PR companies that we've worked with that have had great success, but it's always kind of a gamble. And that's just honesty. If anyone tells you you're guaranteed something, if they tell you you're guaranteed a spot on a radio show, they better run that radio show and be able to guarantee you that, because I've seen so many people do everything right and still not get booked. And sometimes you just have no control over that. So you never know. Where do I think it's best to pay for ads? That is a tricky one. So when paying for ads, I always say, where's your reader at? Where's your readership? Is your reader on Facebook? Because if so, Facebook ads. Is your book really optimized on Amazon? Do you have a lot of reviews? Do you have a strong market? Does your book cover really do your book justice? Amazon ads, maybe not the cheapest ads, can convert the best, because people are already on there with their credit card connected looking to buy something. Whereas if you're marketing or paying for ads on Facebook or Instagram, you are trying to convince someone to get off the mindless scroll of the platform they're on and go buy or read something on a different platform. So you really need to know where your audience is, because if your audience, let's say that you've got a really, let's say that you've got a sweet, cozy mystery romance, and you're putting a lot of money into Instagram. Most of your audience is probably not there. If we're talking about, pretty tidy, cozy mysteries, most of those readers are typically demographically a little bit older and tend to hang out on Facebook. It's not to say you can't sell them through Instagram. It just means that you're probably not in your best area. If you have, if you've got a nonfiction book about dentistry and you're trying to sell it on TikTok, that's probably not your main demographic. I'm not saying you can't sell it there. I'm saying it's going to be a lot more time and effort. So you really need to think about where your audience hangs out, where they find their book recommendations, and then really put your budget into those focused areas. Unless you've just got unlimited budget and then you throw it everywhere and see what works best. It's, that's up to you. I don't typically recommend that, but I've seen it work for people because they had the budget to do it, but most authors don't. Let me see, we already talked about the USA Today bestseller list. Whoops. See, Nancy, I see you've got this here. Let's see. So what do you do when you've got this opportunity to really market to a specific industry? Let's say that you see, actually this one one works really good. Let's use this example. Let's say that you have a book that is all about visas, immigration, and for employers. So we're talking about how to get visas, how to work with immigration as an employer. If this is your niche and you know that a bunch of layoffs are happening in the tech industry because people are losing employees who have to, they're not getting their visas approved or different things like that. And hey, I've got this book that fits this very, this problem that's been in the news, that's been talked about a lot. And you have a book that talks about the solution. How do you tie into that? That is a case of your topic is in the news. Start pitching. You don't have to have a PR company. A PR company could help for sure, but keep in mind PR companies typically book out several months, and they also are going to take several months to onboard you. So if you contact a PR company today, you may not actually be working with them until September or even January of next year. What you can do now is you can start pitching articles to newspapers. You can start pitching to bloggers, local radio, wherever that topic is really hot. You can start pitching to local TV shows. You yourself, as the author, do have the ability to do this. The important thing is you don't pitch your book. Your book is wonderful. We all think it is. However, a book is not a news story. You need to pitch the story and use your book as social proof that you are an expert on this topic. So I wouldn't pitch to a local TV show. I have this book that's all about visas and immigration, and I would love to be on your show. Nuh-uh, no way. The way you pitch it is there's a massive problem in the tech industry because of employees not getting visas and able to stay in the country. I'm an expert in this field. I've written a book on this, and I would love to come on and talk about 3 ways or 3 things that employers can do to work with their employees to get their visas. That's a news story. So it's really important that even though you want your book to be the focus, that you realize that when pitching for a podcast, for news, for really anything, you should be second, or your book should be the backup. If they think that you're just going to focus on your book and use it like a commercial, they don't want you on. They want you to provide value, to provide a story, and then come back and use that, of course. And they're probably going to say, and Keri, you actually wrote the book on this, right? And I could say, yeah, I did. I wrote this book, blah, blah, blah. I did not write this book, but you get the point. That is something to remember. I see this mistake all the time, so often. Even so, New Shelves, we accept guest blogs. We love to accept guest blogs. We feature them in our newsletter. We put them up on our blog, and we do have quite a big audience. And we love when authors or people who have different services offer us a guest blog and ask if they can speak to our audience. I love it. However, about half of the blogs that I get are a commercial for someone's book, rather than here's value for your audience, and then at the end, I'm going to tie in my book. That is a value to me. Something that is just a straight commercial for someone's book, I don't post those blogs because that's not what my platform is for. It's not there to advertise your book. Now, I want you to receive value in return for providing your knowledge and your expertise, but it's got to feel organic. I don't want something to feel like a blasted ad in people's faces, because that's not what our platform and what New Shelves and I am all about. So when you are talking about podcasting or different things like that, your book should not be the main focus. What you can offer their audience should be the main focus. So when you're thinking about your pitches, that is something to remember. That's something to keep in mind, and that's something to lead with. You should have, number one, a knowledge of their audience enough so that you can pitch something that will be productive to their audience. And number two, you can say, my name is Keri, I'm the award-winning author of blah, blah, blah. And I would love to offer 3 tips for your audience about this. So you can use it that way. But again, it was part of the pitch. It was not the pitch. If you are a fiction author, that's a little bit different. So if you're a fiction author, you are not offering expert advice, maybe, although maybe you are, maybe you're pitching to, a craft or industry newsletter or blog or podcast, whatever it may be. But as a fiction author, you can still pitch yourself for different things. So you can pitch yourself to local news. Hey, I'm a local, I've grown up here and I've written my book all based around our hometown. And I would love, I'd love to share that with a local audience. I saw that recently. There was it 100 Things? I think there was a book recently. So I right outside Rochester, New York. And recently there was just a book that was making the rounds on radio shows and local TV and things like that. And it was like 100 things to do in Rochester, New York. That was the perfect fit, right? Yes, that's the case of a book leading, but that's because it was such a fit for this area. It wouldn't work if you're pitching that specifically to, let's say, I don't know, if you're pitching it in Seattle, people in Seattle don't care. So that's one of the things you want to think about. But if you're pitching it to the Travel Channel, hey, I know that you guys feature different places and things to do there. Again, I didn't feature my book first. I featured, this is what you offer. How can I help? And so I think that's one of the things, one of my favorite TV shows, that is what the main character always asks is, how can I help? And I think as authors who want to promote and get PR and get that, we call it earned media, because you earn it either with your expertise or your willingness to offer something. That's what you should be thinking, is not what can you give me your audience, highlight me. The question should be, how can I help? And you will get so much further with that question than asking, what can you give me? Because that's not usually going to get you a great response. It's not very helpful. So keep those in mind for sure. And if you are, by the way, since we're on a PR kick, by the way, if you are going to ask for someone to feature you either in a writing or in film or podcast or whatever it is, if you've done previous podcasts, if you've done previous things, link to that as social proof. So you can say, you've got this, you've got a podcast on consciousness, and I would love to be a guest. I was recently a guest on such and such podcast, and it's gotten over, 10,000 views, and you link to it. That way they can click on it, they can hear you speak, and you've given them social proof. You've made them comfortable offering you a spot. If you're asking for online TV or a live spot or interview, if you have something of you on camera, it doesn't have to be an official film reel. So it doesn't have to literally be a speaker reel of like splices of you speaking in different places. It could simply be a link to this. Like, I can't tell you how many times when I've pitched myself or when I've tried to get interviews and things like that when they're live, I've simply linked to Free Advice Friday or to a webinar or something that I've done and say, I do several webinars a month. Here's an example of what that might look like, so you can take a look. That way they have some idea of what my presentation style is like, what my personality is like. Can I speak well? Am I not a good fit? Maybe I'm a little bit too fuzzy and silly sometimes to really jive with someone's very serious, very flat interview style. I mean, that not everyone gets my sarcasm or different things like that. So sometimes those videos of me actually tell people I'm a terrible fit, but sometimes they are social proof that yes, indeed, I can go on camera, I can speak, and only sometimes do I put my foot in my mouth. So that matters as well. Excuse me. All right. Another thing trending in the news, I don't know if you all have heard about it, but AI has gone and broken the Amazon bestseller lists. So what happened? It actually started last week. I noticed on Sunday, night, people started talking about how the young adult contemporary bestseller list on Amazon had a bunch of books in the top 100, like 40 of them in the top like 15 spots were these books with no reviews, no ratings, horrible covers. And they obviously were probably not written in English, and they really seemed to be written by AI. They were very poorly written. They were all on Kindle Unlimited, and they were taking over the bestseller list, and people started talking about it as they do, and it was crazy. It was in different sections, and so I went, and as any curious person would do, I downloaded one of the books, and I actually started looking through it. You guys, these things made no sense. It was like someone had just taken sentences and smushed them together, put them in an ebook, and stuck them up online. And what was happening is that people were uploading these books. I assume it was real people, but anyway, they had KDP accounts. They were uploading these books that were made from whatever they were. It's assumed that it was AI, so we'll call it AI. But these were AI books that people had put together very poorly, put a very quick, easy, cheap, not great cover, and put them on there. And then there were click farms. So there are actually bots that were then trained to get those books on Kindle Unlimited and read through them to get the page reads, the money, and the bestseller status so that they would go up. They took over. It was going viral on Twitter. People were just going crazy because, hey, this is every author's worst fear about what AI can do in a negative way. And it wasn't just young adult contemporary. It was happening. Oh my gosh, it was happening in poetry. It was happening in a bunch of different categories. And of course, people are reporting it to Amazon. People are reporting these books and saying, come on, Amazon. And Amazon, of course, they responded. Of course, they did something about it. So Amazon has been pulling these books down, but they are going up about as fast as Amazon can pull them down. Now, sometimes what we see happen when this happens is Amazon cleans house and they go crazy and they pull books down. Sometimes they throw out the baby with the bathwater and you will see a legitimate book get pulled down. If that happens to you, just make sure you do your due diligence, follow up with Amazon. But a lot of these books have gone down. So I've seen in the bestseller list, category list on Amazon, what I've actually been seeing is as they're pulling it down, sometimes you'll go into a bestseller list and instead of having the 100 top bestsellers as they usually do, there's like 57 books in there because they have had to pull 43 that were click farm AI books. And so this is currently happening. Amazon is working to fix it. They've essentially said, hey, not only like we're not counting those paid reads, we're not taking away from legitimate authors to pay these people. Obviously, they're against our terms of service. Those clicks are not counting. And so just be aware they're working on it. And I think it's not a question of if Amazon is going to step in. The question in my mind is what is Amazon and retailers in general, what are they going to do to keep this from being a consistent problem? What are they going to do to keep this from happening in the future? There's got to be some types of checks or balances or something that goes in. And Amazon, I don't know if you guys know, but Amazon and KDP have just done quite a few layoffs. So they're working with less personal staff, with less human staff, and dealing with this really big problem generated by AI and greedy people. So that's something I'll be watching. One of the things you should be aware of as a legitimate author, if your book is in Kindle Unlimited, do not worry yourself over it, but do know if you suddenly see a crazy spike in your Kindle Unlimited page reads, contact Amazon. The reason being is sometimes what will happen is these bots and the click farms who will then download a book and zip through it to get the page reads, sometimes to kind of hide their books and not make it look so unusual, they will do it to legitimate books. They will download legitimate books and start doing the click farm on that book. So if your book typically gets 100 page reads a day and suddenly you're getting like 100,000, don't panic. go to Amazon, go to KDP and just report it and say, I noticed that my book has gotten many more page reads than usual. I'm wondering if there's a glitch in the system. What this does is it puts you on record as reporting it and saying, this doesn't seem right. So if they do find, or if they do decide that your book has been helped along by a bot, you actually have already started the process of protecting yourself so they know that was not you. Because I have seen it happen where a book gets pulled or an author's account does have repercussions because unknowing to them, a click farm has gone in and has been doing their page reads in order to mask their other activity in their own accounts. So just know, again, this is not to panic you. This is not anything like that. But most of the authors I know and I work with check their page reads and their sales regularly. If you see a massive increase and you didn't do anything, just send it in KDP. They may come back and say, no, we looked, everything looks legit. Maybe you went viral somewhere. I don't know. And that would be awesome. But just know that is happening. It is trending. Amazon's working on it. And as I said, I have full faith that Amazon will work to fix this, but I am very curious to know what steps they will take to prevent this from being an ongoing occurrence in the future. So we'll keep you updated as we hear more on that. Yes, how exactly does a click farm work? Not a dumb question. So what it is, a click farm is typically someone who is running bots or AI to download Kindle Unlimited books and then flip through the pages. So this is not a person, I didn't download a book on my phone and just swipe. What it is they are actual bots who will get Kindle Unlimited accounts. They will download a book and then just flip the pages, because you get paid by the page read. And devices in Kindle Unlimited and Kindle tracks that. They count the pages that are flipped or read, and that's how you get paid. And so these bots essentially will download as many books as they can, and then they have software that will flip through the pages to get that page number up, so they're getting on bestseller list and getting paid. So that's what a click farm is. They've been around for a long time. It's just with AI now, because what would happen sometimes is these things would happen. However, it would be a book that someone actually put up, or it would be a book that they had to try harder for, or it was a book that they actually stole from someone and could be pulled down with copyright, copyright issue, or requesting Amazon, hey, this is my book. Now we're just seeing original titles, I think is what it's supposed to be, but written with AI and written really, really poorly. So, they're junk books. They're just meant to scam and to get money for people. So, or I don't know. I always wonder, I'm like, sometimes maybe it's money, but some of these people just have to be doing it to see if they can, and because they have nothing better to do. But who knows? Anyway, we'll keep you updated on that as things happen. I think it's interesting. And Amazon in particular with Kindle Unlimited, I think they've really got to get creative in their problem solving and figuring out how to keep allowing authors to publish and using Kindle Unlimited, but keeping those bots out. All right, you guys, we're right at the top of the hour. So I think we're good for this week. If you guys have questions for next week, be sure to email them in, info@newshelves.com. You can also join us live. I hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend. Stay safe out there, enjoy some fireworks, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.